Welcome, my name is Rutger Van Dijk. I'm the Global Trainings Manager for UE Systems, and I want to welcome you here for this live event that we're running at this moment. If you have any questions, if you have anything, comments, or you want to remark something, please put them in the live chat. I see your live connection here right on my screen, so whenever something is popping up, I will know. But we try to reply to you afterwards, after this session, by email and get in personal approach with you. The reason that we're doing this live event is one of the reasons is we talk about ultrasound. I like to talk about ultrasound. I'm now 5-year experienced global trainer. That means I'm wandering around the world providing trainings in a lot of different industries. I've been to food and beverage, I've been to oil and gas, I've been to the ocean, I've been to the mountains, I've been to all kinds of different places. That taught me a lot of different people. I met in a lot of different industries, a lot of different cultures. That's one of the things that I really like about my job. But however, what I also see is a lot of different maintenance approaches. Some are really preventives, others are really in the reliability already. And what I like to do is take up our equipment and find that connection with the customer and to see how we can fit in our equipment, the ultrasound, the pillar in the industry that could be useful for you as well. So during this event, I'm going to take you a little bit through that journey of my experience, what I have learned over time, where I see the benefits in what kind of applications, how you can utilize it for example, for leak detection, bearings, steam, all other applications that I'm going to reply. Other bits and pieces where we can utilize ultrasound in the best way. So when we see in all those different industries, I get always the question, yeah, but why ultrasound? Now, one of the first things I always say during my trainings, because it's so simple. You can use it, you can listen, you can let the instrument, let your most critical assets tell you what's happening inside your asset. For example, when you talk about bearings, you can listen to the friction inside a bearing. Is that friction still on the right place where it should be, or is there already contamination, or is there something happening with the amount of grease? What's going on inside that asset? Something you want to know. Now, and over time, UE Systems is now 50 years in the world, building his road through the whole industry, and we learned a lot about bearings, leak detection, all different applications. But what we learned, especially with the bearings, is that friction, you want to have it as optimized as possible. And you want to have the right amount of lubrication in there. You want to have the right amount of forces in there. And with ultrasound, you can detect it. Now, all the other applications that we talked about, they are easy to use. They are cost effective. And most of the time during our trainings, we speak about why do we do it. Now, for example, leak detection is one of the most easy one because we want to save money. We want to reduce the downtime of the operating hours of the compressors. We want to find all the leaks so we have more efficiency out of our systems. From my experience, I sometimes see customers where they actually have 5 compressors for the whole area, for the whole facility, and after a survey and after doing, of course, maybe a year, 1.5 year work, they finally are finding the solution that they can reduce 5 compressors back to 4 or maybe even 3. That's a lot of money if you think about it in a cost way. So leak detection, money-wise, that's one of the reasons why we do it. We want to get more efficient out of our equipment. The better your bearing is running, the better your steam trap is operating, the better the system is operating. So you want to get the most efficiency out of your equipment. And we also say it's really simple, it's versatile, and we can use it in so many different places. We can use it in so many different applications. You can do it with one type of equipment. So that's one of the reasons why we say, is it a hard system? No, it's not really a hard system. The only thing is you need to build up experience. Now, that's one of the things that I'm going to take you with to as well, is about how you're going to use this instrument. We talk about condition-based lubrication. I have the equipment right here in front of me on the table. It's our grease caddy. The grease caddy you can utilize for benefit your lubrication program in the best way you can. We have the 15,000 in front of here, the 9,000 that we quite often use for bearing condition monitoring or leak detection or steam and valve inspections to make sure that all those systems are operating really well. Or when you want to make sound recording, for example, electrical inspections. Is your discharge in that application appearing? When we talk about all the applications, we talk about condition-based monitoring. I got my grease caddy here in front of me. The grease caddy is really used to optimize your lubrication program. By listening to your bearings, by applying the right amount of grease, you can actually determine that you're always on the right spot and that the friction inside that bearing is at the best position that it can be. And when we talk about bearing monitoring in the more general way, and we also recommend the 15,000 or the 9,000 or even the grease caddy 201, or actually all our equipment is capable to listen to a bearing. So, and because you want to hear the friction inside that bearing, and as less friction you have, the more optimizing the bearing is running, so the better you have the efficiency coming out of your assets. And leak detection, I have my board behind me that we use for training, and that board is, there are a lot of leaks in there, I'm gonna be honest, but it's a fun way to teach our customers to actually say, hey, go out there, find that leak, let the sound bring you to the spot where the leak is actually occurring, because that's ultrasound. Ultrasound, when you're doing leak detection, is really about the directional part of the sound. When we talk about human range we normally mention it's multi-directional. But when we talk about ultrasound, I can compare it almost with a flashlight. And that flashlight, when you're standing in the middle of the forest and it's completely dark, there's no city lights or anything around you, and you put it on and you see a nice straight light beam going into the darkness. When you look at that light beam from the side, you see the light, but not as bright when you directly look into the source of this light. And that's the same principle that we have with ultrasound. When you listen to ultrasound and you hear a leak coming, or you find a leak in the area that you're taking your survey, you will let the sound guide you through that point, and then by using the right settings and that kind of things we teach you during our trainings. So steam and trap and valve inspections is also something, one of the applications that we do, because especially with steam is not an easy application. I learned that really simple in the beginning when I started 5 years ago with UE Systems. I was thinking, steam, what can it be? It's vaporized water, it's hot. It should not be that hard to think about. But then you come into all the calculations, and then you come into all the different things you need to consider when you work around steam traps. You got the steam system, you got the condensate, you got the type of steam trap. All those bits and pieces took me really quickly back on my feet and taught me, hey, let's dive into that. Let's be more common with that system. And I was lucky enough that I was learning myself in the last 5 years really well. And that kind of experience, that's the kind of experience that we like to provide you as well. And we learned a lot, but we want to teach it further to you as well. And with ultrasound, you can really significantly listen really well if the steam trap is opening or closing or is modulating all the time, what's happening in that steam trap. And then by listening to the sound and by the experience of the inspector, you can easily determine what's happening, what's going on. Now the fifth application that we do is electrical. Electrical, we can scan with ultrasound, we can hear the electrical emissions, and those emissions are actually corona. It's most likely in the high voltage and medium voltage areas. Maybe perhaps you already recognize it when you're wandering around in your area. You hear that buzzing sound coming from substations in your local area. And that's typical where you can listen to ultrasound really well. And the ultrasound is actually you a favor because you can determine if it's wanted or not. But that's also something, I'm not going to dive too deep because I'm a teacher, I can easily wander away. We can actually dive into that during our courses. But that's something. So we have corona, we have partial discharge, we have a complete spark, but we have multiple things inside electrical. And during our courses, we're going to take it over and we're going to talk about it. So when we talk about training, I already dived in, touched here and there a little bit. We have a lot of options. We have inside our 50-year experience with all the colleagues, we build up several programs. We notice a lot of customers come to us and say, I want to do this, I want to do this. There's one simple rule, everything is possible. Everything is possible. If you talk about, you have a big group of engineers, you have a small group, you have just one person that wants to be taught how to utilize that instrument in the best way. That's our goal. We want to make you our best user. So how do we do that? We do it, for example, by one-day trainings where we say, hey, you bought our equipment, great. Let me come over. Let me talk about your equipment. Let me teach you how to use it. Let me show you how to use it for all the different applications that you do. And we do that in several options. We do that in 1 day. We do that in 2 days if you have multiple applications. Or even if you want to extend directly and do a kind of quick start or a smart start solution, we have that in our portfolio. We can offer you that. So what we quite often do is 1 day trainings, implementation trainings. The implementation training, for example, is already a built program where we say, okay, you bought this type of equipment. Let's take the 15,000 as an example. You bought it and you want to utilize it for bearings and for valves and for maybe also leak detection, which is all possible with the instrument. But then we talk about 3 different applications. Then we definitely recommend you to at least, at the minimum, get a 2.5, 3 day training, perhaps even a 4 day if the group is bigger. So those kind of solutions that what we normally talk about and what we're more than happy to offer you. But if you're saying, yeah, that looks nice, but that's still at the basics, I want to learn more, I want to dive deeper into the material because I really love ultrasound, then you're more than happy to our certified trainings. And we have built our certified trainings according to the American standard, the ASNT and the ISO, the 18436, that actually gives us the guidance to build a training according to those standards. And we did that. We lifted up in certain points even higher because we want to have a high standard to our own courses. So we have 2 levels in there. We got the first level is all about the inspector. The inspector is really talking about all the applications. We talk about all the 5th applications and how to utilize it, or how to use our software, how to use it hands-on. Really, we love to train by theory and by hands-on. And the more practical we can build into our courses, the better we are, and the more happier the trainer will be at the end. Me as well. So during those courses, but we have the standards. We need to follow the right standards. So it's going to be theoretical, it's going to be practical, and it's going to be combined together. And at the first level, it's all about the inspector. The second level is really about the leader of that inspector. Could be a manager, could be a team leader, could be general management. You know, it's talking in depth about everything regarding ultrasound. We dive deep into the terminology. We dive deep into where ultrasound is origin from, how we can utilize it. But we also talk about program building, standardizations, all those bits and pieces. And we are then in those standardizations, we do in-depth analysis with our software programs. And all those kind of things are built into our standardizations. But let's say this is all hands-on, on-site, physical trainings, and that's not one part of your solution. You are looking at, maybe I'm abroad, I'm not always easy to reach, I'm not always available. First of all, dare us, I always say, find out if we're really not able to offer you that training in your site. But if you say that's not feasible for me, we have online solutions. And at first level, second level, that we're just talking about those certified trainings, we offer them online. That means you can sit in an online class with a teacher everywhere around the world. Doesn't really matter. We have some necessities. Yeah, you need to have an instrument, but that's something practical. We can sort it out for you. That's not the issue. But we guide you through the whole process. But then online. If you think about the certified training is a little bit too high. I don't need to know everything about all applications. I want to have a specific application, leak detection, or mechanical inspection, or lubrication excellence with mechanical inspection. That's also feasible. We have those courses online where you can do your self-paced course, roughly around between 4 and 6 hours it will take you, but you can stop at any time, you can start at any time, so you can do it in between the job, you can do it after work, you can, whenever you have the opportunity, you can follow the course and you can take as long time if needed. So those online courses are also available. Again, another solution to suit you and giving you our best opportunity. So if you want to learn more about all those trainings, like I said before, we have our live event here. So you have the opportunity to put it in the chat. I already see some people putting in a lot of questions, so that's really nice. I really want to thank you for that. No worries, we're going to respond to that. But point it in there, or have a look at our website, www.uesystems.com. So if you look at our website, uesystems.com, you can find everything about training. There's a dedicated page on that website where everything is written down step by step in multiple languages. Because as well, we offer our trainings in multiple languages. It's not just English. We have approximately 21 languages now available, and we're building up more and more over time. So again, if you have a question and you think maybe I can do it in my local language, of course we can do. We are more than happy to work with a translator. We are more than happy to guide you through that process. Again, dare us, give us that idea that we can find a solution for you as a customer. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining this live event. I see a lot of questions that really makes me happy. It's going to take me a while to answer anything, but that's fine. We're going to work on to it. If you want to join me again in the next one, more than welcome. We're going to do more. I don't know, it's always a bit of flexibility, but we're going to see you again in a live event. And if you have questions about specific points, maybe we're going to dive into that world as well. Maybe not myself, maybe a colleague, but who knows. I want to thank you for now, and I hope to see you again soon.